Hi there, Nigel Saunders here of KW Bonsai. Behind me is a tree that's been described to look like a bonsai tree. The question of the day is, why does this tree look like a bonsai tree? So why don't people describe these as looking like bonsai trees? I've never heard anyone describe this as looking like a bonsai tree. Do these trees look like bonsai trees? Ask anyone. This doesn't look like a bonsai tree. Would anyone describe this as a bonsai tree? What should a bonsai tree look like? In today's video, I'll try and answer the question, why don't I wire my bonsai trees? Before I talk about wiring a bonsai tree, I have to think about what is a bonsai tree. What a bonsai is can have a different meaning for different people. Personally, to me, bonsai is a miniature representation of a tree you would see in nature. A bonsai tree should include all the features that its full-size counterpart would have in nature. The roots, the trunk, the bark, the branch structure. The more closely that the tree resembles its full-size counterpart, to me the more successful the bonsai is. I want my ficus trees to look like ficus trees, and I want my pine trees to look like pine trees. To talk about how wiring affects the look of your bonsai tree, I'm going to go way back in time, to a time where I was just starting to get into bonsai, about 25 years ago. When I started to get interested in growing bonsai trees, two of my favorite books were Meetings with Remarkable Trees by Thomas Pakenham. These books have really interesting tales of some outstanding trees all around the world. Trees in this book have inspired me to grow all kinds of different trees. From junipers to the mighty baobabs. Another good book I got was Simon & Schuster's Guide to Bonsai. More than 100 full-color photographs of 150 different species of trees. I kind of knew from early on that the trees I would collect and grow as bonsai trees wouldn't be your typical Japanese or Chinese style bonsai trees. They would be trees from all over the world. What does all this have to do with wiring? Well, I'll try and explain. Every species of tree has a unique growing pattern or growing style and an overall look to the tree. When I grow my bonsai, I'm trying to capture the essence of the tree in miniature. So I'm trying to copy those growth patterns and growth styles and structural details in the full-size tree and capture them in miniature. So a miniature elm looks like a full-size elm. A miniature maple tree looks like a full-size maple tree. I don't want my schefflera trees to look like maple trees. In a northern climate like Canada, you get lots of time to look at the bare structures of trees in the wintertime. The trees are bare for about 8 to 9 months of the year. Each species of tree you can recognize from the bare silhouette, just by the structure of the branches, the trunk, the bark, and that's the look I'm going after when I create a bonsai tree. Let's look at some silhouettes of trees now, and you can see how each different species of tree has a different basic core structure to it. To me, a good bonsai tree, without any leaves on it, you should still be able to recognize what species of tree it is just by the structure that it's grown in. The branch structure, the trunk, the roots. You don't have to look at the leaves to know what species of tree it is. Not too long after I started growing bonsai, I came across this book, Bonsai Penjing from the Montreal Botanical Gardens. The trees shown in the book were some of the best trees that I'd ever seen pictures of. They had a natural flowing trunk line, realistic movement to the branches. I was just fascinated by this style of tree. These trees were grown in the Lingnan style by Mr. Wu. I'll read you a passage from the book that explains the Lingnan style of bonsai. Towards the end of the Qing dynasty and the beginning of the Republic of China, some 80 years ago, dwarf tree growers in the province of Guangdong advocated abandonment of the former artificial method of shaping trees with wires, as this method was against nature. The growers introduced clip and grow method, which was inspired by the Chinese painting techniques. In order not to radically change the natural appearance and qualities of the tree, the Lingnan school rejects the use of wires, weights, and artificial means of shaping trees. Instead, it has developed a new approach of letting trees grow on their own and then radically pruning, hence the name clip and grow. The Lingnan artist will prune a trunk or branch just above a new twig or shoot. The new shoot is then allowed to grow in size as well as length until it reaches almost the same dimensions as the branch or trunk from which it sprouted, and looks like a natural extension of the tree. This unchecked growth will sometimes require years and will result in branches reaching out several meters before the grower is satisfied with its size. The process of pruning is repeated as the grower chooses a new direction in which to orient growth. This method requires a great deal of patience, as growth periods between prunings may last as long as 10 years. This process of drastic pruning also helps the trunk to develop in diameter at its base, giving it the appearance of an ancient tree. I've said before, when I'm growing a bonsai tree, I'm not concerned with time. The important thing for me is to get the trees on their way to becoming a really nice bonsai, not whether I can do it in my lifetime. Wiring a bonsai tree tends to make every tree look the same. It doesn't bring out the natural characteristics of each tree. Clip and grow methods do allow the natural characteristics of the tree to shine through. Every time I prune a branch in clip and grow, it changes direction and it gets taper. You start off with a thick branch, you prune it off, a new branch grows in that's thinner, and you prune that off, and so on. So your structure gets finer and finer as it goes up towards the canopy of the tree. This mimics the very natural style that you will see in nature. A clip and grow trunk has all the natural scars of where a tree may have been damaged and has changed direction, so it justifies the movement in the trunk. The bark that follows will follow this movement in the trunk. It won't be just a thick trunk that's bent into a lazy S shape. When I look at a bonsai tree, I want to appreciate the way it's grown, not the fact that someone positioned all the branches and trunks with wire. I want to look at the tree and say, wow, that's fantastic that it grew like that. Do I think wiring has a place in bonsai? Of course it does. I've used wire to reposition branches, but I'm not using wire to grow the tree or to grow the branch structure. I'm using clip and grow to do that. I think the reason wiring is so popular in bonsai is it gives the bonsai tree grower something to do. I've got over 80 trees in this plant room right now, and I was looking around the other day and none of them needed any work. They're in a growing phase. So the pruning, you've seen me prune on the videos. I touch the trees probably once every 5 months, sometimes a year. So there's not much work to do in bonsai and clip and grow. You prune the tree and you let it grow. With wiring, all these new shoots that come out, you're always wiring them, positioning them. Wiring is popular with bonsai growers because it creates a good-looking tree in a short amount of time. Is it the best technique? I'll leave that up to you. That's it for today. I hope I got you thinking about wiring bonsai, clip and grow bonsai, the Lingnan style of bonsai. So Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai, do something green today. Be sure to recycle your wire when you use it for your bonsai trees. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.